Why you must listen. Hi everybody. My name is Adil. Welcome back to my channel English 30 Days. Today we are going to talk about why you must listen. Let's get started. Identify objects around you in English. The first way to stop translating in your head is to identify the objects around you and your target language. So, if you are studying English, that means you look at the objects around the room. Look at the things in your life. Don't think of them in your native language first. Think of them in your target language first. So, if I look around the room, I see a computer. I shouldn't think my native language word. I should think my target language word. So, start with the items and the situations in your everyday life. If I say computer in English, maybe I should say computer in Japanese. I should say not I don't know water in English, but I should say omizu in Japanese. So start associating the words in your target language with your everyday life now. So if you are studying English, that means starting getting familiar with the things in your everyday life in English. Repeat phrases you hear native speakers use. Tip number 2 is to repeat the phrases that you hear native speakers use. So, if you are watching the channel, for example, or you are watching a TV show or a movie, listen for the way that native speakers make those phrases. If you hear a phrase you have never heard before, or you hear an interesting combination of words, try to repeat them yourself. Don't just listen. Try to say them yourself. If you are in a public space and it's difficult for you to do that, find practice in a place where you feel more comfortable. Maybe if you have some private space to practice, just repeat them. Get your mouth used to saying the words the way that the native speakers do. So, if you never actually say words, if you are only talking if you are only listening and you are not actually producing the language, it's kind of hard to practice and to really hone your pronunciation, to improve your pronunciation. So, when you listen to native speakers, try to repeat after them. So, for example, if you are studying English, you can try to repeat after this video. You can repeat after the things I am saying because maybe I am using an expression or I am using a series of vocabulary words together, the way native speakers would. And it's maybe a good idea to try to practice the ways that native speakers put their words together. You can try to read out loud interesting lines of books that you find, or something that maybe is difficult for you. Very nice practice tip. Make a situation where you can't escape into your native language. Make a situation where you can't escape into your native language. Essentially mean immerse yourself. Of course, going to that country or going to a place where you can speak only that language is very difficult for some of you. Totally understand. But if in your life, you can create a situation in your library, in your room, in your house, somewhere for just an hour, or I don't know, maybe a day. I don't know what your schedule is like. But if you can create a situation or create an environment where you have no choice but to use the language and you cannot escape, meaning you cannot go back to using your native language as a crutch. You can't use the native language at all. It forces you to use the language that you are studying. Oh, of course, if you are lucky enough to live in the country or to live in a place where people speak the language you are studying, great. But you have to go out and interact with people. You have to put yourself in a place where you have no choice but to speak. It's very hard and it's very scary. And it's very embarrassing at first. But if you take time to find places and to make environments that are comfortable for you, where you feel comfortable making mistakes and asking questions, it's very valuable for your learning process. This is actually sometime that I totally did this. My Japanese wasn't very good for a long time, but then I started making friends who could not speak English. Actually, I just did this through finding hobbies. There was a hobby that I had. I joined a group. I joined actually a school to where I could learn how to do the hobby. And everything was taught only in Japanese. And the people in my class only spoke Japanese mostly. And then maybe we would go out for drinks and foods late at night or on the weekends, and everybody spoke only Japanese.